Opportunities are available right now. For more information, call 850-215-4468 or go to espnpc.com and click the contact button.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
WJSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back to the gap at the wall, out of here!
Lights, camera, action.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Do you know who I am?
Live and local inside the J. Michaels studio.
People know me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Villa Walter!
Ooh,
it's hot. Yeah. Got a little company in the hot tub. Yeah. Get in. Well. We have made it to Thursday. Hard to believe now. We're up into August, Jason.
I know. About 28 days, 25 days. 24 maybe.
Yeah.
Away from football.
We are getting crazy close. To high school football, to college football, to pro football, to heaven, as we say here.
Right.
Brian Haddad sitting in again today for Coach Hale on the Coach James Hale Show. As you heard there, Jason Kovaleski's joining me on this Thursday. How we doing?
Good. How y'all doing today?
Doing great. Randy's again in the fishbowl. Boss man.
Feeling good this morning. Let's go.
Let's do it. And we have a special guest this morning. Jason, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, this is my business partner. We talked a little bit about it on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing some new things down at MaxFit, but we partner with Performance MD. Tina's been running clinics and anti-aging clinics and in this space for, 20 years almost. She owned her own clinic. So she's going to talk a little bit about what we're going to offer at Performance MD, which is basically hormones, prescription peptides. We're going to be able to do your blood work. That's going to be the most important thing, is to get your blood work done, see where your biomarkers are. We're going to be able to treat everything. But Tina, talk a little bit about your background and what we're going to be able to offer.
Good morning. Well, as Jason said, we are Performance MD, and we will be, we are open in Panama City area. We will be able to service all of Florida through telemed, and we specialize in hormone replacement, also medical weight loss. We'll do regenerative medicine, which is the stem cells, as well as peptide therapy. This can all be done from your computer. From your home, be able to talk to an MD doctor. This is not something that's just a nutrition store. Come in, you'll actually be talking to an MD, and you can do everything from your home. But we do have brick and mortar where you can come into the clinic as well.
And to be, more in depth, MaxFit's not where you're going to get treated.
Yeah.
It's where you're going to come down. We're going to, give you nutritional advice. We have our supplementation where I think the gap in, some of the medical treatments is nutrition. A lot of people are on GLP-1s. They're not getting the proteins, the collagen, the micronutrients they need because not to any fault to the doctors, they're just not educated in that area to a certain extent. Some are, there's some great places out there, but we want to marry those two together and fill in the gaps where you can come down if you need a GLP-1, if you need a GLP-3, if you need MOTC or BPC TB500 or stem cells or anything of that nature. We also want to get you somebody one-on-one counseling with what to eat, when to eat it. We do this at MaxFit already. We have our InBody 570 that's very similar to a DEXA scan, so these aren't just like a handheld scan. They are very accurate. So we're going to give you that support where you get weekly check-ins, talk to somebody, what can I eat this? If I have a birthday party, what do I need to do that day to be able to fill in the gaps for, if I want a piece of cake, you don't have to starve yourself to get in shape, but these products can work for you. But we want to marry nutrition with the medical side of it.
And that's, obviously I've known you a long time
Yeah.
and yes, you're a sponsor on the show, but one of the things that I really appreciate about what you've done, and I've been able to see it for, 8 years now, is kind of that marriage of the full service health thing. It's not, it's not like 20 years ago where you thought about, the little sports nutrition store, that's where I go get my protein powder.
Right.
I mean, this is really where you can change your life's trajectory and your health. And you guys are so knowledgeable about it. I love the expansion into just so many other things that are intermingled and are important as people grow.
I think peptides are the future, and I think they're the present, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they're here. I think where they get a bad rap is a lot of people are confused where they're getting their peptides from. Are they getting it from China? Are they 100% pure? I mean, there's kind of a gray area there in the market that we're going to fill the gaps with. You're going to talk to a doctor. We're going to get them from a compound pharmacy. You can be 100% confident that you're getting these from a pharmaceutical company that's FDA approved. So, and you're going to have consultations with a doctor. We're going to be doing your blood work every so often to make sure your biomarkers are improving or something's not getting out of whack. So, talk a little bit about blood work and what that first step is.
It's really important because right now with the GLP-1, everyone's getting on the wagon, but you have to be really careful about your health and knowing your background with your medical doctor. You need to make sure that your kidney functions are doing okay. And also with men, you need to make sure that your prostate is okay. If you just go and take these on a whim, and you don't know what you're doing, it's very dangerous. So we want to make sure that you get your blood work before you come in, you meet with the medical doctor, and then 1 month later we go in and check it again. With the GLP wagon, a lot of people are on it. So many people are losing so much weight on that medicine, but it's really important to have the peptides and the nutrition because you're losing the muscle, and you're seeing everyone with their skin's really loose, and they just, yes, they're healthier because now they don't have high blood pressure because they've lost weight, but they also look really bad. Yeah. You want to be healthy when you're doing it.
And there's other health issues with that. Bone density, skin texture. If you're not getting the proper nutrients, you may lose weight, but anybody that starves themselves is going to lose weight. But how healthy are you really? How do you feel? That's the main thing. And hormones play into that. Some women, they get on the GLP-1s, they're not losing weight, men too, and they're like, what am I doing wrong? And they have hormonal imbalances. So to be able to get those blood work done and be able to tell exactly what's going on with your body, we're going to be able to treat that and get you a way better outcome.
Do you find what's key in all of this is just like you were saying, you something will become popular and become a fad. Everybody will go do it, but then the balance is shifted. So, they'll lose a lot of weight, but they don't factor all these things. The key is kind of going to a professional who can look at and balance everything and make sure that everything stays healthy and still achieves the result.
Right, because even whenever you do get your blood work, your doctor can say you're within range, but you have all these different symptoms. And we're not saying that they're right or wrong. We're just saying, I feel this way, but I still feel run down. There's certain things that are not right. Yeah. So with having a doctor that specializes in hormone therapy and bioidentical hormone therapy, it actually will help not only put the blood work into a system that will be able to also put your symptoms in there as well. So if we go and draw your blood another month later and you're still having these symptoms, we need to see what's going on. And I feel like, yes, the GLP wagon is here and everyone's doing it, but whenever you do that, the stress of losing that weight so quickly, it will throw your hormones off. So whenever you're doing that, you don't realize that your estrogen's going crazy, and then you're having all these mood swings, and your skin's all crepey looking, and you just
cortisol.
The cortisol, and that's a stress hormone that will actually put your hormones off.
And I think one thing that we're going to be able to offer that's exciting to me, because I didn't, up to maybe like a year ago, didn't know these products were out there. Some people are not comfortable injecting certain things, so we have topicals, we have nasal sprays, we're going to have gummies. So there's going to be an alternative for people, especially, I'm not a fan of needles. I don't know how you feel about them.
As long as I don't see it,
that
I'm
keeps
fine.
Some people from getting the treatment they need.
It's true.
So if you could take a gummy, once, twice, maybe just a day or something, maybe a couple times a week, then that's going to change the game for people because they're going to get the hormones through a different mechanism that they're more comfortable taking. And I think that's where we're going to kind of meet people in the middle where they want to get the treatment, but how is easy for somebody that's in their 70s to inject something twice a week or 3 times a week? That's just not feasible.
Do you find, and I'm sure I'm speaking about myself when I bring this up.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Do you find that one of the biggest barriers to all of this is just simply breaking down stubbornness to seek help?
Well, I can say in the hormone replacement side at my clinic, men never really speak about it until after it's fixed.
Yeah.
They don't want
Right.
to talk about it, and then
Sure.
after they get it fixed, they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess what I knew I've been doing this forever."
Uh-huh.
But what I found is yes, that it's really hard for men to go, especially if it's a woman physician or
Yeah.
a woman nurse. And even with the man, even talking to the man, they're like, "Oh no, I'm fine,"
Right.
we're all
Right.
good. But I think that barrier is for them to be able to feel comfortable to say, I do not feel well in the middle of the day. I have a crash, and I can say after the hormone replacement therapy, most men will say, "Well, I don't need that because I'm okay in the bedroom," But that's not what it's about.
Yeah,
It's
almost like it's an admission of weakness or something.
right.
with-
And it's a thing that it's a natural thing to feel that way.
Yeah.
But I have found that the number one thing that men get after getting the hormone replacement therapy is they do not have the crash about 2 or 3 o'clock in the
Oh,
afternoon.
my goodness.
And where they're like, "Oh, I just need a cup of coffee. I need a nap."
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. Also, the better sleep, muscle recovery, and recovery time in the gym. And brain fogginess, whenever you just kind of like walk into a room and you're like, "What did I come in here for?"
I'll say
Yeah.
that because I started getting treatment about COVID, and I thought I just chalked it up to I'm in the house, I'm not active, not be able to go to the gym. But when I had my testosterone test, it was like 110, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I got some good news and bad news." He said, "The good news is I can help you. The bad news is you got a testosterone of a 90-year-old man that died 10 years ago." And I was like, "Oh, well, thanks, doc." You know what I'm saying? But it was the emotional side. I was really like depressed, didn't want to get out of bed, the
remember.
mental fog, and I was just like, yeah, because I missed some of the radio here
Yeah.
too, and it was just like, and as a guy, you're just taught to, I'm just old, I'm getting old. That's just
Yeah.
part of life, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Just keep going, and at some point, you don't have to feel that way, and that's what I've learned. And if you're getting your blood work done, I would say at least every 6 months. I would say every 3 to 5 months, you're going to be able to see those markers and kind of say, okay, now we have a plan, we can fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And when men's testosterone after the age like in 30s, well, I actually had a patient that was 32, and his testosterone was in the 100s. And so it doesn't really have to be that you're an older man. It can happen
Sure.
just because it's a genetic thing as well. So, but with that being said, if you go in and you're doing this testosterone therapy, you need to make sure that you're getting the follow-ups as well, because you can have a spike, and not everyone's created the same. So
Right.
just because Jason takes a certain amount doesn't mean that you're going to take a certain amount. So you have to come back and say, like, "Hey, this is how I feel," and then you have to have different types of nutraceuticals that you take with it.
That's because of how much better shape I am and better looking I am than Jason.
That's it,
Right?
yeah.
Okay, good.
100%.
Very good. All right, thanks. No, but I mean, you're sitting here and you're listening to all this, and it makes just so much sense. And the thing that I keep coming back to in my mind, and I'm as stubborn as anybody about seeking help for anything. I think I can self-diagnose and fix everything, like that. But it's like every symptom you just described pretty much pegged me to a T. And I'm like, why make yourself miserable if you
Right.
don't have to, if people are there to help?
There's a thing called andropause, and women have menopause, but it's called andropause. It's a real thing, and there's about 30 different symptoms, and men really do not know that they have it. It's just they just feel like it's part of life. But men decrease in testosterone 1% every year after usually the age 39 to 40. So it just keeps going down little by little. But women, after they hit menopause, it's like really quick.
Yeah.
Men, it's gradual. So they just feel like, I'm just working harder, I'm getting older, I just feel a little run down. But you don't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
But we have seen in younger patients, I mean, even kids in their 20s now that are in the like 300-400s, and that's a lot of it's not genetic. Some of it can be, but that's a lot of the food that we have now. There's a lot of, hormones and stuff in foods that can suppress yours. Certain types of foods will suppress your testosterone. It's how active we are. A lot of kids are playing video games 10, 12 hours a day. If you're not out in the sun getting natural vitamin D, exercising a little bit, we just have so many kids that come in nowadays to the store that are like 300-400, and they get their test levels checked, and it's not somebody you really want to put on testosterone at that age. So, I mean, it just depends on the person and how they're genetically, built. But, and there's some alternatives we can use, HCG and clomiphene. So it's not like we just have to put you on testosterone if you don't want to go that direction. There's things out there peptide-wise that can also help you elevate your natural test levels if you're not a certain age that we would probably put you on first.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk about some of our great
Yeah.
sponsors. I definitely want to continue this conversation in the next segment because I've got a lot of questions. Again, asking for a friend.
Right.
I'm sure. But definitely want to talk about J. Michael's Restaurant. Yesterday was World Famous Spaghetti Day, and they were packed out. Don't tell me that everybody's left for the end of the summer because it was packed down there at J. Michael's. You can always get the best seafood, the coldest beer, and on Wednesdays you get that world-famous J. Michael's spaghetti. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Coach James Hale Show. T.K. Vandy, Roofing and General Contracting. Kyle Vandergriff and his crew are the absolute best at everything. Look, don't wait to get one of them scary letters from your insurance company as it relates to your roof. Make sure you go on and get that thing fixed. Kyle and his crew are the absolute best at what they do. They can also do your general contracting needs. So call Kyle and TK Vandy. And look, we're going back to school. We need to get that our missus a special gift there. We're going to get up to Adamson Jewelry. They're in Lynn Haven. They can fix your old jewelry. You can design a special piece like that. They can even buy your old gold and silver. Make sure you get up there today at David Adamson Fine Jewelry in Lynn Haven. More with Miss Tina when we come back on the James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
Tarek Skubal made his debut as a Dodger at Wrigley. Wasn't a bad outing, took the loss. You know, the bigger issue here is the Dodgers have been losing a little more frequently than you've come to expect there. And even if you rent Tarek Skubal for 2 months, he's still going to pitch well for you.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, isolated thunderstorms and mostly sunshine, and a high of 89 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 77. Tomorrow, a mixture of some sun and scattered thunderstorms and a temperature near 88. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 89 and scattered thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia and supplies, new and vintage cards and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory, or visit online, instantReplaySportsCards.com. Ready to play? Welcome to DuPlay, your premier indoor destination for family fitness and total fun. DuPlay is designed for fun, movement, and skill building for all ages. Kids can explore our active playgrounds, while athletes and teams can utilize our turf fields, indoor soccer, batting cages, full basketball, and volleyball courts. With open play, training space, and structured activities, it's all inclusive at the new DuPlay in Panama City. Take a look now at DuPlayOnline.com. That's DuPlayOnline.com.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250-plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Braves top the Marlins and take the series. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Tidal Wave Auto Spa is the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves and your go-to car wash destination all season long. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com to find a location nearest you.
Ho-hum, just another win for the Braves. They have won 7 in a row after topping the Miami Marlins 4-1. Austin Riley, another couple of hits, including an RBI, knocked in Ozzie Albies in the second. Drake Baldwin with 2 RBIs in the second as well. And Bryce Elder, one of the best performances of the season for Big Texas. He went 7 innings, only gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts en route to the win. He's now 8-6 on the season. Didier Fuentes, the 4-out save. He struck out 2. That is his second save of the season. All around, a great night at the old ballpark. The Braves will look for the sweep coming up tonight. Jansen Junk on the mound for the Marlins. Martin Perez going for the Braves. He's 7-6, has a 3.24 ERA. And if you remember last time out, took a no-hitter into the 7th, and he wasn't even supposed to pitch that night. For leadoff show coming your way at 6:05 Central, and first pitch between the Braves and the Marlins, 7:15, 6:15 Central time right here on the Braves Radio Network.
He's a 10-foot-tall, barrel-chested beast man who showers in vodka and feeds his baby shrimp scampi.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Please welcome.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Live and local from the J. Michaels studio, the Coach James Hale Show, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show on this fine Thursday. Don't forget, we have Atlanta Braves baseball here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Bravos have won 7 in a row, Jason.
Yeah,
We're on a roll here. Got a
good
big
this year.
4-1 win over the Marlins last night. We're going to try and make it the lucky number 8 tonight, the Ocho. Braves. Yeah, there we go. Braves coverage picks up at 6 p.m. right after the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson with first pitch at 6:15. Braves finish their series at Truist with the Miami Marlins. Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast here is sponsored by Hewitt Tire and Auto, Brock Pest Control, Billberg Kia, PCB Hobby, Cito, and Blue Diamond Truck Accessories. Go Braves.
Yep.
So most of the time, it's probably a good thing that our conversations during the breaks aren't live on the air. I hate that the last one wasn't, because we were really kind of going more and more into this, and it's fascinating to me. And one of the things that we were talking about is kind of maybe some things that men and women don't understand about themselves. And we have a ton of women listeners in the morning, too. I felt like we covered a lot with the men there in that first segment for obvious reasons.
Right.
So we were asking the questions. But talk a little bit about some of the kind of differences maybe men and women don't understand about that, and maybe some things that are particular to women.
I believe that with women with the hormone replacement therapy, a lot of women don't understand that women need testosterone, and that we do have testosterone. And men do not understand that they have estrogen.
Yeah.
It's like,
Jason and I both
recoiled
a little bit.
And they don't need estrogen.
You don't need it, but you have it.
That's right. But you do need a healthy balance of
it. It can
it.
spike if you're not doing your hormone replacement correctly.
Yeah.
You can spike, and you need to get that regulated. But with women, a lot of women think if you're doing testosterone and doing hormone replacement therapy, that they're doing steroids.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to have a deep voice.
Sure.
It's not that at all. We're actually doing bioidentical, which it mimics what your body naturally produces. So we're not going in and going to give you a man's dose of
Right.
testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to change your voice, and it's not going to make you look like a man or act like a man. But it will make you feel great. It'll make you feel like all that, the crash that most women, when they go through menopause, they have just a little bit of a depression, crash. You just don't feel like getting up. You don't feel like working out. And that little bit of testosterone makes a huge difference. And it's just a small amount. It's not, you're not getting a huge dose. So, and also after menopause, of course, they'll have estrogen replacement as well. And with the bioidentical, a lot of people we do have pellet therapy, but you can do topicals. You can do all of the different types we were talking about with the peptides. You can do the creams. We can do the gummies, many different things that are compounded for that.
Yeah. And it makes it easier. You know, like I said, a lot of people, especially as they get older, a lot of women don't want to inject. I mean, how many people want to pull out a needle every 3-4 days and then look in the mirror and try to hit a site that maybe they've never been comfortable doing? Now, I'm sure they can go into the doctor's office if they need to and have that done for them. But the gummies, the nasal sprays, the topicals are going to make your life a lot easier. And women don't have to feel like crap either. I mean, you know, I know a lot of them have a lot of things going on. Maybe their parents, you know, and they get older and they're like, oh, this is just part of life. Well, you don't have to age. This is the science that's going to help you live a longer, better quality of life. And the main thing is, and I stress this to everybody, go get your blood work done. Get your blood work done, because it's going to tell you everything that your body needs or is lacking. And we can help you address that, whether it is through supplements, nutrition, you know, maybe it's peptides, maybe it's hormones, but at least you have the knowledge of what's going on with your body if you don't feel 100%.
Yeah.
Do you find that, you know, we talked a little bit about people trying to self-diagnose and all like this, and like, so you don't feel good or you're kind of depressed or whatever, and you think, oh, I got a nasty email from somebody 3 weeks ago, that must be it, or something like that. Do you find that people don't really look at maybe some of the physical markers for why, you know, like you said, depression seems like a mental thing. You don't think there might be physical imbalances and things that lead to that.
And you just feel like life just happens.
Yeah.
And life does happen.
Right.
But all of those things kind of come in together. And sometimes we bring it on ourselves because we aren't disciplined. But when you don't feel like doing things and you don't have no energy, you don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to eat right.
You're not
you
going to
don't
be
want to get off the
disciplined.
couch. You're not going to be disciplined. And it does take that first step. You got to make the first step. And if you do make the first step, and being able just to come in for a consultation doesn't mean that you have to go and commit to everything. But we do need to see where you are with your blood work. And for people that do not have insurance or their deductibles are just crazy, we do have a cash pay that's really very cheap to come in and do. So you'll spend more at a restaurant than it would be to go and get your blood work with us. So, and I do feel like a lot of people that's losing a lot of weight with the GLP-1s, it does put a lot of stress on your body with the cortisol, and then also the cortisol will actually spike your estrogen, and that creates fat. If you don't burn it, it's going to go right to the belly, and you have that little gut going on there. Yeah. So it's there's so many different things that happen. And men that
Why'd she look at me?
I don't know.
And that goes with the men as well. So if they, even the people that are in the gym and they're over a certain age, and they push their body really, really hard like they used to in the 20s, and your body actually will create that same hormone that it's the cortisol that will do the same thing, release estrogen. They're like, why am I not losing weight? Why am I not getting any more gains? And it's because you're doing it to yourself. You need to do things the correct way for.
It's called exercise induced stress. We stress our bodies in many ways. Right. Some people sit around thinking about things they can't control. That's stress. That's one of the things I knew when my hormones were low. I've never been a depressed or anxiety person. I have a pretty good life. I've been blessed, you know. So, but it was my mind started to think about things I couldn't control and worry about things I couldn't control, and I would be sitting around going, "Man, why am I thinking about that?" You know. And it was more of a hormonal imbalance. It was nothing mental. It was I had low testosterone. My mind. I mean, now we know why women might be a little, crazy. My estrogen was spiking.
Make sure you record that.
No, that was a joke.
Well, but at the same time, because I do remember.
Yeah.
When you were going through all that, and we were a little worried about you. But I think all of us kind of thought, too, with COVID, because it was near that time, we were all thinking, well, of course, we're all thinking about this, and we're not in control, and we're home more, and just everything was just, so it's like, oh, that's an easy thing to blame.
Right.
And it was kind of masking what was really going on.
And I will say this, once I started getting treatment, I'd say about 4 weeks in, I felt normal within about 4 weeks. And it can be a life changer for you. If you're going through mental depression or just lack of energy, you don't have that drive, and you're somebody that used to have that, go get your blood, and I'm going to say this a million times, get your blood work done. It's going to tell, it's a map to what your body's going on in your body, and it's going to give us all the answers that we can help you.
I think one of the things about this that's so important and that's been so fascinating to me, because I know with what you've been doing at MaxFit over the last several years, that I think when people go to a nutritionist or when people go to a doctor, too many of them go in thinking, I'm going in and they're just going to tell me everything I have to do.
Right.
Whereas in reality, when they go to you about, hey, I don't feel this, or I want to achieve this, or whatever, that gives you a roadmap to then help them achieve what they want. And I think it's the same thing with what we're talking about here. It's not you're going to the principal and they're going to yell at you, do X, Y, Z. People are going to come to you, Tina, and say, I kind of, I crash in the middle of the day, or I don't feel this, or I don't feel that. That gives you kind of a roadmap to develop like a plan for them to make them healthier.
I remember when I first started, and I was in the medical field, and usually the worst patient are the people that actually work in it. Like, we're so non-compliant. We're like, oh, yeah, we're good. But we're just in the middle of it. But I remember when I had my blood work done, and the physician that I was working with, she said, man, do you feel okay? I'm like, well, I'm always on the go, so I felt like, but my everything was off. I mean, I needed to take a B12 shot once a week, and then it wasn't just every so often, and then I was actually, my D's, my A, D, and K, everything was off. And she said, you should be and my hormones, she said, I don't even know how you're functioning, because my iron levels were super low, and I had no energy whatsoever. But I was a single mom and had to keep going and working full time. You don't have time to think about how you feel. And the same thing with men, and they're in the middle of the day and that crash happens, they just get an energy drink and or coffee and keep going. But if there's something you can take that's a simple thing, once you get there, then it's a life changer.
And you're right. It is easy to say, I don't have time to deal with this, but you have to find a way to make time for your own health, don't you?
It's a life changer
Yeah.
because not only does it change your life, but normally after the men come in, the women come, and then it's a full family thing.
But that's also why we wanted to do the teledoc visit, so you don't have to leave your house. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we can get your blood work done, prescribe it. Now you can take it wherever. There's in-home tests now. Send it to the lab. You're going to get in front of the doctor once the results come in. He's going to break it down for you, and then you're going to come up with a plan, and we're going to execute
will send it right to your house.
Yeah. So, and then you're going to have, products from MaxFit. I mean, you get your medical treatments and stuff, and we're going to give you support on both ends. That way you have the best outcome possible. I can't stress enough, if you're on a GLP-1 now, even if it's not from us or whatever, come down to MaxFit. We can help you get the nutrients, the protein, the collagens. Those are essential when you take a GLP-1, because I know a lot of people, when they get to a certain dose, they don't want to eat anything. Looking at a steak is like looking at, please get that away from me.
We have peptides for that.
Yeah,
to be
you
able
can.
to tighten the skin.
So somebody listening to us wants to kind of take that first step and kind of get to feeling better, along these lines. What do they do? Do they come see you at MaxFit? How do they initiate?
We have Performance MD, so it's performancemd.org.
Okay.
Or, of course, they can go into MaxFit for the nutrition, and we will be giving away also on the radio.
Yeah, we're going to give away some packages for people that are listening that are very interested. We want somebody that's actually needs this treatment too. So we're going to give away a couple of treatments.
Brian will be caller one.
We can get you on the right track.
He's going to be our poster child.
Yeah, him.
Oh goodness!
I'm trying to get Coach Hale, but
before and after pics.
He runs to Birmingham every time we have a hurricane.
Yeah,
so I'm not
that's
sure
right.
he's going to do the treatment fully, but
Not me.
but we are going to give away some packages. We want people to have access to this. I think it's going to change people's lives, and it's just you got to change your thought process just a little bit. We're in a different era of medicine, and I know people think the old way, the pharmaceuticals, all this is the end all be all. But I definitely think we've seen a shift into peptides, into nutrition, into more holistic healing, and I think we're getting way better outcomes from it.
Absolutely.
And, they can call me as well, and if they need to get in right away, and it's 850-774-5659 or performancemd.org.
I love
it.
And
we'll get you in.
Fascinating discussion. I've got a few calls and emails I'm going to have to make after this.
Absolutely.
But no, it is critically important, and I really hope everybody listened in and takes that first step, because I do think it'll, like you said, it'll help you feel better, but it'll help everyone around you as well.
And we're going to come on once a week and kind of address certain things, and Tina will be here to, probably on Fridays to answer questions. So if you get questions, just remember we're going to come in. You can call in and answer or ask questions, and if you need to, we can actually set up an appointment that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not an MD, but MDs work for us. But no question is a stupid question.
Right.
When it comes to that. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, again, outstanding. We're going to keep giving that out as we go. It was great talking with you. Hopefully I'll be seeing you here soon.
Absolutely.
And see if I can get healthier myself.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about a few of our sponsors here on the Coach James Hale Show. How about the Deckhand Social, one of our newest sponsors there. Just a great setup overlooking the bay. Huge TV, got that little swimming pool. Jason's usually paddling along on his back with a drink on his belly, but we won't talk about that any further.
I love the food. We went down there for my grandfather's funeral, and I walked out. I was like, there's a pool out there, and there's a lot of people having fun, having a couple drinks.
I'm
really
telling
nice.
you, it's one of the greatest places to go enjoy just a nice time out. Great food, great drink, great views and everything. You need to get to the Deckhand Social. Turf Pro Pest Control. Patrick and the crew do a wonderful job. As they say on their commercials, the blue and yellow truck will help your yard get green.
Right.
And they do. They make sure those unwanted pests and insects are out of there. They're making sure that your lawn is the talk of the neighborhood for all the right reasons. And you can listen to Patrick every Monday right here on the Coach James Hale Show. And then finally, my buddy Steve Burdishaw there at Steve's Bike Shop. Been open since 1979, right there on 23rd Street across from Sam's. They do the electric bikes. They do the regular bikes. They can fix your bike and have a great service crew. And Steve is also the swim coach there at Mosley High School. They are hot and heavy into the season. Trust me, I know.
You're doing something right if you've been in business since 79.
That's the truth. When we come back, we're going to talk to our buddy Steve Barnes here. We might find out which coaches are starting the season on the hot seat. That's coming up next. Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you sick of the old sports talk? The vanilla opinions? The polite debates? The hosts who are afraid to say what they really think? So are we. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is bringing the house. It's the new Sports Blitz. Weekdays 11 to 1. We're not pulling punches. We're digging graves. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Hewitt Tire and Auto has been in business in Panama City forever. Locals taking care of locals. From the smallest to the largest vehicles, they do it all. But don't take my word for it. Listen to the experts.
Hewitt Tire and Auto, your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Hi everyone, this is Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Gifts in beautiful downtown Panama City. After nearly 40 years in the jewelry business, I'm so excited to welcome you to my very own store. Whether you're celebrating love, family, or life special moments, we're here to help you find something truly beautiful. From diamonds and fine jewelry to unique gifts and custom design, we invite you to come experience the difference. Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Gifts, putting a sparkle on Bay County.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
Lots of force on this one. Hello, Chop House. A 2-run homer.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels studio.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show on a Thursday. Brian Haddad, Jason Kovaleski, and the wild man Randy in the fishbowl holding it down. Oh, I thought you were going to throw something in there.
Oh, no. I was just playing with the buttons in there.
Oh, there you go. Well, we're going to go to the phone lines here and talk to our good buddy Steve Barnes from therebelwalk.com. Steve, how you doing this morning?
Hey, man, first day of practice. Everybody getting their cleats in the grass. It feels good. Of course, how do I start my day? Talking to another lawyer about the LSU case. Oh. Man, that's just a get. I mean, the guy had I tell you what, this guy, he's also an agent, so I can't use his name because he represents a lot of players. He said LSU's not going to let this go to court, even though it's the two kids, because Ole Miss sued the two kids, but they can depose who they want. So, hey, Lane, guess what? You're getting deposed in Oxford. Hey, Charlie Weiss Jr., you're getting deposed in Oxford. Hey, AD, hey, compliance director. And it's all going to be the same questions.
Wow.
When, if did you first mention to these Ole Miss kids that you wanted them to come to LSU? And so they'd have to admit to tampering. Yeah. And LSU's not going to let that happen, so I think LSU's going to pay them off.
Wow. That's certainly a crazy world we live in there.
Get the guy who set me up with this dude is a friend of mine from high school. I've talked to him more in the last 6 months than I did in 4 years in high school, I think. He retired, and this is kind of his hobby now. I mean, he can tell you all aspects of the Protect College Sports Act that's in Congress. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how do you do that? They change it every 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he just knows it, and he's told me some stuff. I'm like, well, golly, I didn't know that was in it. You know. One of the interesting things was you have to have $5 million in rev share for the, they call it the non-revenue sports.
Yeah.
Well, the way it was originally written, it had to go to, quote, Olympic sports, and it had to go, a portion to the women. Now it's just $5 million for Olympic sports. Well, don't you think a lot of these schools are going to just funnel that into baseball?
Sure.
It needs to be rewritten where the women get a share.
Yeah. No,
other than that, we're going to play some football, I hope.
I've long said the only way the Olympic sports are going to survive long term is if they kind of go the club route.
Right.
And it's the case. And I don't even get upset about it. I don't know that it's, when you're talking about, a net loser financially, and they are, as much as I love them, as much as I've spent my entire life in them, I think it's our job to go out and make our sport viable.
Right.
It's not, we need to just be supported and subsidized and all this for, time immemorial. So
if you want them to stick around, buy a ticket, go watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, support it and
Yeah.
donate to the sport. I mean,
go ahead, Steve.
Somebody asked me if the first case of that was when Arkansas went ahead and dropped their men's and women's tennis teams. Now, that got so much backlash, they brought them back.
Mm-hmm.
But this went on in the early 90s with Title IX.
Yep.
The University of Wisconsin, this is when they got good and were going to Rose Bowls under Barry Alvarez. They were not in compliance with Title IX because if you look at it, you got men's basketball, women's basketball. They each have the same facility. They each have the same number of coaches. Each have the same number of scholarships. That's equal. Baseball and softball, you got more players in baseball because you need more pitchers. Softball pitchers can go every day.
That's right.
But still, you got basically the same number of coaches. You got a few more scholarships for the men. You got the same. You each have your own facility, so that's pretty equal. In the fall, they try to equate volleyball with football. Football has more coaches than volleyball has players.
That's true.
That's true. The way the AD at Wisconsin back then was Donna Shillelagh, by the way, who went on to be in the cabinet.
Oh, she was
of the
like
White House.
HHS or something, wasn't she?
And ended up down at Miami.
Yeah.
When they got all that Nestor problem with paying players.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
Her great decision was the way to even things out. They added like 3 different women's sports. My favorite one, women's lightweight crew.
Yeah.
That's for rowing for women who don't weigh 120 pounds. But what they also had to do, because they couldn't add any more, they had to start cutting. They cut baseball.
Yeah.
Wisconsin had played baseball in 20-something years. And the way I look at it is to comply with a federal law, Wisconsin cut the national pastime.
It's crazy.
We've been living in this.
Go ahead, Steve.
I said, no, we've been living in this for such a long time, most people don't even notice anymore.
You're right. It was funny you brought up the women's lightweight crew. That I remember when I was in Nashville, and I actually knew David Williams, who was the provost, which it was essentially their athletic director.
Right.
They were designed a little differently. Brilliant man. Well, when he passed, I hated that because I really liked him a lot. But they had to get Title IX compliant at one point, and we were really hoping they would do swim. And, of course, David's kids were swimmers for us, and we thought we had the end. And you know what they added, Steve?
Then they had bowling.
Women's bowling. And it made
Hey,
perfect
you won a
sense.
national championship.
He won a national championship, but they had a Vandy alum, owned all the big bowling alleys in the area, and he provided, free lanes, but everything like that, so it made perfect sense.
They
ended up adding swimming a few years later, but it was women's bowling. I'll never forget that one. And then to your point about, athlete spots and all like that, you know this as well as I do. Back in the day, in the 90s, Ron Polk, he'll always tell you he never retired. He resigned, hoping he would force the NCAA to change things. It never worked.
Right.
But Ron Polk could work 11.7 scholarships into any question you asked him about anything. If you asked Ron Polk, how's the weather today, he would say, well, with 11.7 scholarships, it was that. Because at that time, baseball would carry, 25 on a travel squad, and they would have 11.7.
Right.
Women's basketball got 13 scholarships, could only travel 12 players. And that just used to just chap him, but that was just the realities of Title IX at the time. Crazy stuff. Well, anyway, Steve, let's talk about it because, like you said, first day of practice here like that. So, even though nobody's lost a game yet, we're already going to be looking at whose seat is getting pretty hot there. And in our next segment, I'm going to hold you over. It's typically our Florida State segment. I think we'll talk about that. So let's hold on to Norvell for a bit.
That ties in.
Yeah, but outside of that, who are some coaches we need to kind of be looking out for there right out of the gate who are on the hot seat?
Well, in the SEC, I've got 2.5. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Shane Beamer cannot just win 4 games again at South Carolina.
Yeah.
Especially with Lenore Sellers at quarterback, and he's got his main target back out wide.
That's right.
If he doesn't go to a bowl game, I think that's it. I hate to say it to you, man, Jeff Lebby.
Really?
Yeah, because if they're doing better,
Yeah.
but everybody in that state's going, why aren't we playing as well as Ole Miss right now?
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about it in those terms.
So, yeah, but it's always going to be a comparison.
That's true, yeah.
But the thing is, the timing, I call it the calendar fire.
Mm-hmm.
If he can go to a bowl game, and I'm not talking, Independence Bowl or Birmingham Bowl.
Sure.
But if he can go to one that's in late December or early January,
Yeah.
if he can go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the Music City Bowl, any of them down in Central Florida on New Year's. Well, first, he's had a great season, and they're not going to fire him. Second, they won't have time to.
That's right.
Because if you fire him, hey, guess what? Your portal's just opened up. Half your kids are going to leave. And now you have to try to replace him. You don't have a head coach.
Dan Mullen. Let's go.
Well, hey, I tell you what.
He wants back in the SEC. I know that. He's been talking a lot.
He did a good job there.
And I've picked UNLV to be the group of 6 team in the playoffs.
Very possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, can you hang on
But
with
the
us?
other one is the other one, real quick,
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
I hate to say it, Eli Drinkwitz with what he's got.
Wow.
If he just rolls off a cliff, I think Missouri just says, "Okay, well, we tried it your way, we're trying it ours." But,
Can you hang on with us through the next break?
Yeah, sure, man.
All right, great. Well, I definitely want to get into more of this because there's certainly some other names I want to throw out there at Steve. I got to consider this Levy thing. That's interesting to me. Definitely want to talk about some more of our great sponsors. Another new sponsor we got here on the show. How about Outlaws Barbecue? And look, we know they got great barbecue. We know they're right between the two newbies. So we talked about it. You can leave Glenn Manley at one, go get you something to eat, and see Glenn Manley at the next one. But they have great tuna dip. And Jason, you were really talking about their cobbler.
Oh, cobbler, but their French fries, too. They got some seasoned fries because I get their chopped barbecue pork plate every Saturday.
Yeah.
And they're on DoorDash, so if you don't want to leave the house and you're there sitting there watching a football game on the weekends, order their DoorDash because they got a lunch special that's like $14 for their pork plate.
That's great.
You get seasoned fries, barbecue baked beans, garlic bread, and then I throw on that, blueberry or cherry cobbler, and it just wraps it all together. So it's great food, though. Great food.
All right,
I
I'm
eat that all the
heading
time.
out. You're going to run the rest of the
Yeah.
show. Now, that sounds great. They're on Thomas Drive, Outlaws Barbecue. Get out there today. Dr. John Ward, boy, he does a fantastic job, having to deal with Coach Hale and all of his ailments there. But look, 1 in 5 will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. And we live in paradise. It doesn't have to be a death sentence for us. The best way to get out front of that is regular screening. And Dr. Ward has 9 area convenient locations. If you're listening to us now, he's got an office near you, so make sure you go see Dr. John Warden, dermatology
You should have
specialist.
took Hale behind the barn and not treated him.
And then you want a great Mexican meal, Pepper's Restaurant.
Yeah.
There, we always had them in town. They're on 77. Now they're on Back Beach Road over by Arnold High School. Great drink specials. That soft margarita, that'll knock some people on their rear end, but you'll have a good time doing it. Pepper's Mexican Grill. More with Steve Barnes and a little FSU when we come back.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus, interact with our local hosts in real time and so much more. The new app for the sports fanatic is available at the Apple Store and Google Play. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, isolated thunderstorms and mostly sunshine, and a high of 89 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 77. Tomorrow, a mixture of some sun and scattered thunderstorms and a temperature near 88. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 89 and scattered thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Your safety and proper care of your boat in an emergency is crucial. When it comes to on-water assistance, response time is everything. And since 1996, in the Bay or on the Gulf, it's SeaTow. SeaTow's Coast Guard licensed captains are on the scene in an average of 1 hour or less. SeaTow gets members home or back to boating faster. Become a member today at SeaTow.com or call 850-234-2323.
Looking to upgrade your truck? It's Blue Diamond Truck Accessories in Panama City. They sell, service, and install it all. Bumpers, truck bed covers, camper shells, van shelving, ladder racks, and any trailer hitch you can imagine. Blue Diamond Truck Accessories, just west of Frankfurt Avenue on 15th Street. Find Blue Diamond Truck Accessories on Facebook or call 850-914-0265. Blue Diamond Truck Accessories, 850-914-0265.
For the A.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
Your spot for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. Listen live nights and weekends. This is Braves Country. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Right.
Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. Woo! FSU update brought to you here on the Coach James Hale Show by Newbies and all those great Newbies properties. The mothership featuring the best bands in the Southeast. Newbies 2 on the Curve, great place to go watch a sporting event. You got the Brew and Booze, great place to have an event gathering or a reunion. And then the new one there in St. Andrews where you can step over Glen Manley on your way to have a wonderful, wonderful time.
I still haven't been to that one. I've been to everyone else.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
If you can complete all 4 in one day, you've done something there.
We need a pub crawl walk, whatever they call those.
Absolutely right. And we want to thank Newbies and John and Charlotte for their sponsorship of the FSU update. So let's get back to the phone and let's talk to Steve Barnes. And Steve, since we're kind of in the FSU update, let's lead with somebody who's probably on the hottest seat in the country, and that is Mike Norvell himself. What do you see kind of going forward with Norvell? What does he need to maybe make it through this season at FSU? Or is there anything he can do?
He's got to make it tough on FSU to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So he's got to win some bowl games. FSU, they're going to have to find somebody to help them pay that buyout.
Yeah.
They just, I don't, the old line is cheaper to keep her. Let's say he's 6-5, so he'll go to a bowl game as he's heading into the Florida game, and he beats Florida. So now he's 75. You're keeping him, even if he's 6-6, but he beats Florida. And what happens to some of those players that he got? Are they going to leave too? It's like the Levy thing. If I'm Selman, the AD over there, before I fire him, first thing I do is go to Camario Taylor and say, if I get rid of him, are you going to stay or are you going to leave?
Yeah.
Well, I think some of those players would go to the AD and say, hey, you fire him, I'm going to leave.
Yeah. The FSU case is so unique in that he's got this huge buyout, which I kind of agree with Jason. You were talking about Tuesday. There's money at FSU, but it's waiting. And look, I mean, it's like anything else. Why would you sink money into something you're not sure about what they're going to do? So there is money out there. I do think they could make the buyout. The problem they have is they'd love not to do the buyout, but they're in this horrible state of limbo. The closest thing I could compare it to is about 3 years of Malzahn at Auburn, where it was like you came into every year with exactly the same thing, and you just get to a point where it's like there's no confidence this is the long-term solution. Right. You're just waiting, and everybody's scared to commit money, scared to commit, kind of their passion for everything. And recruits are obviously a little bit tentative on this. At some point, FSU may have to just bite the bullet and do it just for the long-term steadiness of the program.
So the top NLI players are probably a $50 million roster right now.
Yeah.
I mean, are the big boosters at Florida State going to sink $50 million in there for 7-5?
No.
Yeah.
And they just built this new stadium. I think they're just biding their time because we didn't see that influx of money. The recruiting class was terrible this year, and they just weren't competitive in NIL this year. I think they got a little bit of talent this year, especially on the defensive line. I mean, they're always going to have a good skill position. I'm probably a little bit worried about the offensive line. But you go in there and beat Alabama again, and all bets are off. I mean, we saw that last year. We've seen weird, seasons from Norvell where they look really good, and maybe they can win the ACC, and then all of a sudden they end up 5-7. And I'm like, something's amiss within there, and I just think the whole program just needs a refresh and restart.
You know what I found interesting with Norvell, Steve, is that every year if you watch them, it seems like when they have that first sign of adversity, that first loss, he never gets the team back.
Right.
They had it, early on in there, and then they had the 13-0 year where they didn't have to,
right?
Because they didn't have it. Last year, I thought they were rocking along early. They lose at Virginia in a tight game on the road, and then it was gone.
Yep.
Like it's a weird thing. You've never seen any real bounce back with FSU like you do with other clubs.
Well, the Norvell years, I sort of equate them to the 80s or early 90s Southern Mississippi.
Interesting.
They'll go to Alabama and win. They'll go to Auburn and win. They'll beat LSU or they'll beat Florida State. But then they turn around and lose to, Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
Cal.
Jacksonville State.
Virginia.
That's it. I was going to say Jack State.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. That's crazy.
But I say, and there is money. Just look at the facilities in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing they don't have is they don't have a Campbell at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the guy who owns Raising Cane in Baton Rouge.
Right.
By the way, if he's such a big LSU guy, the owner of Raising Cane's, why'd he go to school at Georgia? I just don't understand that.
Fair enough.
But
probably got a children's hospital.
FSU just doesn't have that one guy who can either donate all the money himself or rally people. So the biggest loss that Florida State's had in 20 years, Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a money magnet.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying, if Tim Tebow ever gets fired on TV, the University of Florida is going to hire him as a fundraiser.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Say you send your guy to go talk to so-and-so about, we'd like $1 million. And he said, well, I'll give you $200,000. Tim Tebow comes in and said, we'd like $1 million. The guy's going to give him $2 million and say, here's my daughter. Have you met her?
Crazy.
Baby Jesus.
I'm trying to think out there outside of that, and the one that he's on the hottest seat in the world, and he deserves to be, and it baffles me because I thought this was a slam dunk when they hired him. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. I cannot figure out for the life of me why that has not worked.
The Big Ten got really, really top-heavy, and he ain't at the top. So if you look at their schedule since he's been there, you can usually point to 4 or 5 losses before they even had a snap.
Yeah.
I think
now, there's 2 guys I don't think are going to get fired, but I think this is their last year. Bill Belichick is, I think, not going to have another good. He's going to have another bad year. He just say, this isn't what it's supposed to be, and I'm 70-something years old.
I agree with that.
I got more money than the Catholic Church. I'm going to a beach.
Yeah.
The other one, and I ran into some arguments about this. Deion Sanders at Colorado.
I could see
Very
that
possible.
too.
I think he's going to leave on his own. When he first started coaching, it was his 2 sons in Little League in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then he helped start that little Christian school, so he could coach at that little Christian school and coach his 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And when they graduated, he took the job at Jackson State and took them with him. Then he went to Colorado. His 2 kids followed him. And he hadn't had it for 2 years. And it's probably not much fun.
Yeah.
Colorado wants to keep him. They would not have retired Sharif Sanders' number at Colorado if they didn't want to keep him.
Yeah.
As a starting quarterback, he was 2 games under 500.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to do that, you got to retire, Ken Austin's jersey, Ole Miss, I guess. but the thing is, he's had health problems. The diabetes forced him to lose a few toes. He had bladder cancer last year. And if you look at him, he looks old now.
He also lost Warren Sapp, a really good friend of his. Something went on there that he didn't really like the direction of the program. I agree with that one. One, I know because I watched Big Ten football, and it's not this one could go either way. They can make the playoffs, make a run, and he could be king of the Big Ten, or he could fall on his face. But if USC doesn't do something this year and they go maybe 7-5, 8-4 with the amount of money those boosters are putting in there, I could see Lincoln Riley being let go in some capacity. They got Gary Patterson this year, but they've had back-to-back #1 recruiting classes. They're spending millions of dollars. I mean, they're investing so much. And if they fall flat again, I could definitely see them moving on from that and maybe trying to find a big-time coach to come in there.
Well, you're going to see some boosters and AD push the panic button early and fire somebody. And, who expected James Franklin to get fired last year?
Right.
I didn't. but they brought in a good guy from Iowa State. He brought half his roster with him, including starting quarterback. I think Penn State could make a little noise this year.
The one that's fascinating to me, just to watch what happens, I don't think they'll fire him, but I'm very curious to see how the year plays out at Clemson.
Yeah.
They're not going to fire him because he's going to walk into the president's office and the boosters, and he's going to have on his 2 national championship rings and say, before me, you only had one.
Right.
And that was in 1981.
I just wonder.
I think they will say you got to get with the times. You got to do transfer portal. You've got to.
I'm not sure I'd be shocked if he had another bad year if he didn't just step away. I just don't know. That one's going to be fascinating to watch. Steve, man, as always, we appreciate it. Next time I have you on, I definitely want to go into sports broadcasters because that's something I know you and I really care a lot about, and I definitely want to go down the line with you. And we're going to create a little list here of our
Speaking
favorites.
of that, I was talking yesterday with Will Kennedy, who's the voice of the UWF Argos.
Mm-hmm.
In 11 days, the Panhandle is going to see its first Division I football game played
amazing.
At home in history.
Nice.
That's
so from Tallahassee back over to Pensacola, there's never been one. And on Thursday, a week from Thursday, UWF opens everything up at the Division I level, playing Southern Illinois.
I'll be about 200 yards from that stadium this Saturday morning. I'll have to call you afterwards. Maybe we can grab a bite.
You're going to the Argoplex, to the pool.
Yeah, right next to it. Yeah, right there. So the pool and the gym and all of them right there.
Remember the old natatorium? They had the that bubble little press box thing. That was my office once. We had no office space, so they sent me in there.
Oh my goodness!
And I'd come home and people would say, "Why do you smell like chlorine?"
Yes. No, you'd be lucky if that's all you smelled like in that place. Steve, as always, love talking with you, man. We'll catch up with you next time.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
The great Steve Barnes, therebelwalk.com. Make sure you check out his stuff. Always has great things to go over there and really witty and funny stuff that he writes at therebelwalk.com. And if I'm a Mississippi State guy talking about therebelwalk.com, it's a great read.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to head into a break here. When we come back, Jason's favorite segment. He's been itching to get this one going. The Alabama Update is next. You are listening to the Coach James Hale Show right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Sports Blitz.
We got on the phone line Jeffrey Fry, former Major League player. Has baseball really changed so much from when you played?
I think it's changed drastically. And after you get that long home run, you got to stand and admire it and throw your bat and dance around the bases and shoot a three-pointer before you get to third and then pound your chest a few times.
The Sports Blitz.
Live and local, weekdays 4 to 6.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, isolated thunderstorms and mostly sunshine, and a high of 89 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 77. Tomorrow, a mixture of some sun and scattered thunderstorms and a temperature near 88. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 89 and scattered thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601, 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida.
The locals love it.
Hewitt Tire and Auto has been in business in Panama City forever. Locals taking care of locals. From the smallest to the largest vehicles, they do it all. But don't take my word for it. Listen to the experts.
Hewitt Tire and Auto, your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Want to know the inside scoop on your favorite teams? From the gridiron to the hardwood to the diamond. For comprehensive sports coverage, it's ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio.
I just want to hear it play. Jason's getting all excited.
Yeah, so excited about to fall asleep.
Yeah, he's excited. The next 5 players for Ohio State he's going to scout out this year from Alabama. Roll Tide, roll.
You got any more downs down there?
Yeah, really. I wish we did. Oh, my goodness. Actually, we do. Secondary is going to be pretty good this year. We got to make sure they're not heading up to Columbus. But Alabama Update brought to you here on the Coach James Hale Show every single day by Steverson Air Conditioning. Let me tell you something. We are not out of summer yet. It is still hot and muggy out there. If you're having any kind of issues with your AC unit, make sure you call the fine folks here at Steverson Air Conditioning. Randy, we talked about it yesterday. We had an issue here late last week. Got on the phone there. Jason had a crew out here within minutes.
I was sweating bullets, literally, and it was like, oh, man, how long is it going to be out?
Yeah.
And, I mean, he literally said, I've got a guy right down the road wrapping up. He'll head that way, and within, 30 minutes we're back up. We're running and nice and cool.
Oh, it's beautiful in here today, that's for sure.
Locals.
Locals helping locals. That's exactly right. Steverson Air Conditioning. Well, Kalen DeBoer, obviously, we're going to get. We didn't really touch the hot seat much with him, but we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit.
I think every coach at Ohio State and Alabama are on the hot seat every year, according to their fans.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's the case.
You didn't win a national championship, fire him.
So, Coach DeBoer, they were picked 6th at SEC Media Days poll a few weeks ago, and then of course the Tide came in at number 11 in the coaches poll, which I think was better than what ESPN had put out the end of the year and this, that, or the other. And neither of those are necessarily bad unless you're judging them by Alabama football standards. Certainly over the last 15 years, Alabama football standards, there are quite a lot of people who forget it hasn't always been top 2 or 3 in
Mike
Alabama. Oh, God. I mean, Francione before that, Dubose. And they all had flashes, you know. But, I mean, you can go back to Ray Perkins and then – you got to be really old to go back pre-Bryant and the Ears Whitworth days. I mean, that's back Glenn Manley days, But no, it hasn't always been that way. But, they did ask Kalen DeBoer if he had a comment on those lower preseason rankings, and I actually like his response. Short, to the point, and with a little bit of an edge to it. If you looked at him, it says, we're definitely aware.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those cases, and look, I've been on record. I'm not the world's biggest fan about – everybody every year. I remember one year Georgia was number 1 all year, and they interviewed the players. Nobody believed in us. I'm like, what are you talking about? But everyone uses that, obviously. But it is a useful tool, and I guarantee you that Kalen DeBoer is using that with his guys right now and saying everyone's writing you off. Everybody says you're not good enough, that you're not the Alabama of the past. What are you going to go do about it? And, I mean, that's what he should be doing, right?
Yeah, every coach is going to find an angle to motivate his team, and that's a good angle. And the good thing is there's no pressure on them at 11, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's pressure on him. Everybody puts personal pressure on themselves, but you're at 11. Nobody's really talking about Alabama to win the national championship. So just go to work, get in there, grind. And I think this is a talented team. I think their quarterbacks are much better this year. Not that Ty Simpson wasn't good, but I think he was injured last year a lot. So I think he played with some issues. And what I saw from Mac in the bowl game against Indiana in that second half, I was really impressed with what he did. And if Keelan Russell's better than him, then they got something to work with.
I think the ceiling's higher.
For sure, yeah. And I think his legs are a little bit better. I think they can do a little bit more things that staff wants to do with him. I think he suits him. To me, it reminds me a little bit of Penix with a little bit more athleticism. So they got receivers. The one question we are going to talk about all year is how's that offensive line going to look? Can they get and run the football like the old Alabama teams? That's the one element that's been missing. Defense should be phenomenal. I know the back end is going to be one of the best secondaries in the country. I mean, they got some studs back there. Front seven's usually good anyway.
They're
they
developing
got
up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they got some solid guys there. I mean, they were confident to let Smith and Russaw leave, so that gives me some confidence that they got some guys behind them that they were like, okay, we got some guys that can play.
The one I hated losing was Keeley, but he didn't really fit the scheme.
Right.
He was a tremendous talent.
He's a 4-3 defense.
That's right.
And they run a 3-4 defense. He's not that outside linebacker that can drop into coverage, can be multiple. He's going to put his hand in the dirt and get after the quarterback.
So I want you and I to kind of deep dive DeBoer here because, Hale obviously – I mean, it's not that he dislikes DeBoer, but he doesn't necessarily like the job he's done. If you really – I guess, look, anybody who fills that job – I think is compared more to Nick Saban than the rest of the SEC coaches. So the
100%.
thing that always got me was when, people would say, oh, yeah, Elko's definitely better. Or, this Lane Kiffin's definitely better and Sarkisian's definitely better. And I'm like, what have they done that DeBoer hasn't?
Right.
DeBoer's been in the playoffs just as much as they have. He's won
and
just as many games in the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
right? He's been to a national championship game
at Washington,
right? So I mean, I get it. Look, has it worked out the way Saban did? But I think DeBoer gets compared specifically to Saban more than the others, and rightfully so. Yeah. He's at Alabama. Now, that being said, first year comes in, it made sense. They had trouble on the road and against weaker opponents.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, or prior to that, the Pac-10, you didn't have to necessarily, at that point, I'm not knocking the Big Ten at all, but at that point, you didn't have to get up every game. Right. You had to get up for the top 3 or 4. If you look at what DeBoer did that first year, he's beaten Georgia. He's beaten the big boys. The only tough loss was probably Tennessee. Okay. Second year, I think they definitely improved. I think they started winning on the road. They didn't really have any of those losses that were just brutal. Yeah, you lost to Oklahoma at homecoming. Oklahoma went to the playoffs last year.
And they beat Oklahoma in the playoffs. I think a lot of people forget.
Right.
They won a playoff game last year.
The problem last year was
they played Indiana.
The SEC championship game was a disappointment. Half of that team was hurt, and nobody was looking at it because regardless, they knew they were in the playoffs.
Right.
Right? And then the Indiana thing was.
I think people really, remember the Indiana game, but they forget that they went into Norman and beat Oklahoma in a playoff. So that shows improvement. Yeah. Again, we're all going to talk about this to our heads blue. They got everything. The biggest question mark is offensive line, offensive philosophy. I think most people are more frustrated that it doesn't look like a Saban team, that they're going to line up and be physical and beat you down on the offensive line, wear teams down, because their defense is going to be good. I mean, they're going to be their kind of run game's an extension of a screen game. They did this at Seattle, and that's why Grubb was let go at Seattle. They just couldn't run the ball. And I think Alabama fans get frustrated with that because that's not how, Bear Bryant played. That's not how Nick Saban played. So when they don't see those similarities, I think this is a huge year for Alabama. I think they have a lot of talent. I think the quarterback's going to be super talented. I think their wide receivers, they need to get a big year out of Ryan Williams, and he just hasn't shown that consistency since his freshman year. But if they can get a big year out of him and just have another kid step up, I see this being a really, really good team. I think they're much better than they were last year, for sure.
In a weird way, the schedule sets up good for DeBoer and bad for DeBoer in the same way because the front end of it's pretty wide open. East Carolina, at Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina, at Mississippi State. They should be 5-0, and that's no knock on any of those teams. No. They should be 5-0 through those.
Heavily favored in most of those games.
Now you have the critical 4-game stretch where Georgia, but they're coming to Tuscaloosa. And look, I know the last game didn't go that way. He's had Georgia's number in the regular season for whatever reason. Now they're playing them later in the year this year than they have.
Right.
But, so you have Georgia. But I think even Alabama fans could give him the Georgia loss. All right, so now you're 5-1. The critical game on the schedule to me is the trip to Knoxville the next week because you're going to be physically beat up.
Right.
Tennessee, I don't know what we're dealing with this year. They could be really good or really bad.
They got some players on defense, but we know at Ohio State it took 2 2.5 years to implement that defense. It's very complex.
Yeah.
So I don't see just a quick turnaround on that. And they're going to start a freshman quarterback most likely.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be very young on the offensive line. I mean, they're going to be young in certain areas. I think if Alabama can win that game, of course, they got LSU too, which is going to be a huge matchup after that.
So let's say Alabama gets through Tennessee.
I think
They're
would.
6-1. I agree. A&M at home for homecoming. The only reason I don't like this game is 2 huge physical games in a row, and they still haven't had a week off.
Right.
So I'm going to give A&M that and say Alabama loses it.
I actually picked Alabama to win that game. I have them. I have them higher up on my.
Well, I think you and I are going to differ on the next one.
Yeah.
So I've got them with 2. Now, it's not good to lose going into a week off in terms of, the Boo Birds are out. You've lost 2 of the last 3. We're going to start all the nonsense. But they do have a week off, and then they go to Baton Rouge. I'll be honest with you. I'm not very scared of that game at all.
I thought we
I
were
think
different on that.
Oh,
but,
okay, good.
No. Last week when me and Coach Hale were talking about this, I have Alabama losing 1 game through that stretch.
Yep.
Like I think they're going to go 3-1 in that 4-game stretch.
So I've got them
because the home game at
2.
homecoming, and I've seen some stuff with A&M, especially at the quarterback spot. I'm like, you can really take advantage.
I'm
of
just
that.
worried about the 3 huge games in a row, the physicality of that. Then they're at Vandy, which is going to be a very different Vandy team, at Chattanooga at home, and then Auburn at home. I just don't think Auburn's deep enough yet to be strong enough at the end of the year.
Right.
I think they're a year away from being good at the end of the season. So I have Alabama with 2 losses. I think if that's the case, they're possibly in the SEC championship game, but I think they're definitely in the playoff, and I think DeBoer's fine.
I think he's fine. I think this year is going to be a little bit better than people expect. I think they've addressed the offensive line. They brought in a new offensive line coach. I think Glover's the 5-star running back that they brought in.
I think so.
I mean, I think he was hurt a little bit in the spring, but if they can get him to bounce back, that gives them a legitimate threat that they haven't had the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think they should have went after Justin Haynes in the portal and got him back. I think that would have complete the team. But I think this from the quarterback spot and just from an overall offensive line standing, that this is going to be a better team. People are giving LSU a lot of credit and projecting them. Vegas has them minus 220 to miss the playoffs.
I think it's going to be a tougher year for LSU than people think.
It's difficult to bring in 50 guys and get them on the same page in 1 year. So I think there's, and that they say Alabama doesn't lose in Baton Rouge. So
yeah. That's right. I love that. Well, let's talk about some more of our great sponsors here. Again, thanks to Steverson Air Conditioning for their coverage of the Alabama update. Remember, J. Michael's Restaurant, the best seafood, the coldest beer anywhere in Bay County. Get down to J. Michael's Restaurant. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. Kyle Vandegrift and TK Vandy Roofing and Contracting. You have any kind of roofing needs or general contracting needs, call Kyle. Get that group out there. You know the Vandegrift family is going to do everything right, and TK Vandy Roofing is your answer. And then don't forget about David Adamson Fine Jewelry up there in Lynn Haven. You want a really neat kind of special piece that they can design for you, get out to David Adamson. You can take them your old jewelry, they'll fix it. You can sell them your gold and silver right up there in Lynn Haven. When we come back, we're going to go across the state over to the Plains, talk about them Auburn Tigers and the hotel situation up there. We'll get into that next. You're listening to Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Sports Blitz.
So can I go off the deep end and say 3-0? Okay, 3-0. We got it. And then you come back home in the swamp, and you're playing Ole Miss, coming off the LSU game. Let's say Ole Miss gets a little beat up. Could I even think that the Gators could be 4-0 after beating Ole Miss? Is it a possibility with a different coach at Ole Miss? I'm going off the deep end, Paul. I'm giving all the Gator fans hope.
The Sports Blitz.
Live and local, weekdays 4 to 6.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, isolated thunderstorms and mostly sunshine, and a high of 89 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 77. Tomorrow, a mixture of some sun and scattered thunderstorms and a temperature near 88. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 89 and scattered thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Football season is right around the corner.
Touchdown!
And 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has an unbelievable schedule of college and NFL games. Do you own a business, want to reach more customers? Put the power of ESPN Northwest Florida to work for you. Advertising opportunities are available right now. For more information, call 850-215-4468 or go to espnpc.com and click the contact button.
Looking for the most romantic night out in Panama City? Ferrucci Ristorante is your destination for authentic Italian cuisine and unforgettable moments. The candlelight, the wine, the homemade pasta. It's like a little slice of Italy. From handcrafted sauces to centuries-old recipes, Ferrucci brings true Italian flavor to every plate. It's where love stories begin and anniversaries are celebrated. To reserve your table, call 850-913-9131. Ferrucci Ristorante, Panama City's most romantic escape.
Are you tired of little radio stations with little signals that drop off at the edge of town?
He did say...
Oh, bless their hearts. This is the most powerful sports signal in the Panhandle. You found the Sports Talk monster. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Whoa, Eagle! Hey! Auburn update brought to you here on the Coach James Hale Show by Beef O'Brady's in Lynn Haven. Pat Perno and the crew do a wonderful, wonderful job up there. Of course, it was Wing Wednesday yesterday, but every day.
I was there.
Were you? You leave any wings for the rest of everyone?
Do what?
Did you leave any rings for anyone else? Or did you see them all?
Yeah. I brought some back. Yeah, they're in a box in there in the kitchen.
There you go.
Knock yourself
Good
out.
to know. Jason, I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go out there. I tell you what, I tear up are those onion rings that they do. So it is absolutely fantastic, and I say it every time because I can't stress it enough. You look, you know you're going to get great food at Beef O'Brady's. You know you're going to be able to watch sports. Pat's got the best and friendliest staff in the area there at Beef O'Brady's. You will have an absolutely wonderful time. Get a great meal, enjoy sports, and tell them thanks for their sponsorship of the Auburn Update here on the Coach James Hale Show. Well, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. Auburn head coach Alex Golish is taking kind of an unconventional approach to his first fall camp on the Plains. And so by doing that, what he's taken the players and he's putting them in a hotel off campus for the 13 days of camp. That will go right up to the first day of school.
I like that.
And, you know, his said was, you know, we got 13 days as a team. Reasoning there is just to be able to take the guys, move them on campus, eliminate every single bit of distraction we probably can. And that's how I presented it to the team. He goes, they're excited about it. There's no nothing. No girlfriends, no dogs, no cats, whatever guys are into. Thought that was a little weirdly phrased, but I knew what
Not in that order.
He goes, it's truly just us for the next 13 days, which is absolutely huge for us. You think it's a pretty good idea, kind of, especially in your first year, kind of get it together?
Yeah, like you said, you're going to eliminate distractions. I think NFL teams do that in many camps. They bring guys into the dorms, and especially the rookies, and just concentrate on football. You do some team building there. You get to know the guys in the locker room, you know what I'm saying, a little bit better. So I think this is a great idea, to be honest.
You know, always to make it about myself, you know, how we do that. I always so when I was coaching in Nashville, at the time, a lot of the championship events were run at our pool in Nashville. And people used to come up and go, oh, you must love this, that they're here. And I'm like, oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
And they go, what do you mean? I said, the problem I have is if we were on the road, everything would be about the championship meet.
Right.
I said, here I am. People are trying to figure out, well, maybe I can go to school for an hour before this, or maybe right after we're done, I'll run out and go play a soccer game, or I'll
go see my girlfriend.
Yeah. So there's so many different things going on, and exactly that word, distractions,
right,
that it really takes your focus off of where you want to be at a critical time. And this fall camp for Auburn is critical because, look, as much as we're targeting that Florida game in week 3, the big game for Auburn's week 1.
Baylor, yep.
That Baylor game against a coach who's on a bit of a warm seat himself there in Dave Aranda, that's not a gimme.
Nope.
It's not on the plains either. It's over in Atlanta.
Right.
And so, they need to get off on the right foot with that game. So I really like it. I think it's a great move.
Auburn's got a lot of defensive talent. People don't understand what they've recruited and kept over the last 2 years. I know they beat Autry as a 5-star defensive tackle. I mean, Braylon Womack was considered a Caleb Downs type of player that they landed at safety. So they got some talent on defense. And if they can get what they got out of the quarterback at USF, and they brought a lot of his receivers over, so they got some familiarity there. I don't want to compare them to Indiana quite. I don't think they're national championship caliber, but they have that type of influx of talent, of a system they know and of people they know and personnel. I expect Auburn to be really good, and I expect Auburn fans to be really happy this year. The Florida game's huge, though. I mean, 2 new coaching staffs, trying to get your footing in the SEC. Whoever wins that game is going to have a leg up and really probably springboard them towards a really, really good season.
It's like the case where you expect both teams to be better.
Right.
But the one that wins that game could kind of jump the line a little bit more, and maybe instead of being like a 7-5 and a better season, maybe 8-4, maybe even a 9-3 if everything goes our way.
9-3 in the SEC and Big Ten gets you consideration for the playoffs.
Right.
So you just got to put your best foot forward. But that's a huge game because I think that gives the one team a leg up on the other new coaching staff in the SEC.
So you talked about the defense, and I kind of want I don't know if you and I have talked about this. Structurally, I've never liked it where you have a coach who was on staff,
right,
who was at least considered, if not was pursuing the head job, and they decide to go a different direction. When that person stays through no personal failings necessary, sometimes it is,
right,
but I don't know that I've ever really seen it work. Now, from a purely defensive coordinator stretch, Durkin's great.
Yeah.
We all agree to that. And that defense loves him. They were the strength of that team last year. You understand it in that narrow view, but in the wider picture, do you think this is a good thing or not for Auburn that Durkin's still around?
It's going to be on Durkin. What is his aspirations? Does he want to be a head coach still? I mean, there's a lot of guys that should be just coordinators, but you don't want 2 or 3 voices as the head of the team. You need one clear, direction, and that has to come from the head coach. So I don't see him as maybe this dominant personality like an Urban Meyer that needs that ego feed. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think this could work, but it's going to be all on Durkin and how he operates. What's
interesting is, and I don't know him,
right,
but from all indications watching, even though he's been a head coach, and even though I think he enjoyed the challenge he had at the end of the year, I almost got the impression he didn't want to be the head coach.
Well,
that he really likes being a defensive coordinator at all.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know if he didn't want it because he's a competitor. I'm sure he would have loved to have been the head coach at Auburn. But at the end of the day, was he hugely disappointed? Was he, I don't see that. I think, man, I'm the defense coordinator at Auburn. This is what I love to do. I love Auburn. I'm going to make them the best defense in the country. And with Auburn, up until 2 games last year, was the only team outside of Ohio State that hadn't given up 21 points in a game. So they were very good on defense. It was the offense that really set them back a couple of years. And if he can come in and get some production out of that quarterback, I mean, what did they beat Florida last year, was it, or the year before? USF did. Played a lot of tough games. So this is an experienced quarterback. He's got Cam Newton's size, a little bit of that athleticism. So if they can find some weapons for him and get that offensive line going, this could be a really, really good Auburn team.
Yeah. The only other worry I have, and again, I don't think it's on Durkin, but what we saw with Malzahn, and look, there's a whole lot of history there, so it's different than a first-year coach. Even if it wasn't Kevin Steele, which I'm not sure it wasn't, he had a group behind him that was really stirring it up there toward the end. And it got pretty ugly toward the end. I don't know if you have that with Durkin. I think there were some people who were very happy with what Durkin did. But I think if you ask the typical Auburn fan, they're like, I want Durkin focused on the defense because he is unbelievably good there.
Yeah.
And if we have him there and then an Alex Golish type running the offense and the head coaching stuff into where Durkin can just make that defense the best in the country, then that's the best total package for Auburn. So, again, I think it can work. I hope it can work. My only worry is structurally, I've rarely seen it work.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful for Auburn. Look, I've never disliked Auburn. I dislike them one day of the year.
Right.
But I really would love to see this work, and I'm very hopeful for them.
Between Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama.
Oh, no, this is Tennessee now. I hate every day of the year.
We hate them 368 days a year. we'll throw in the leap years.
You know what, though? I will say, look, I grew up in the state of Alabama. And the Alabama-Auburn thing, I always say it's the final exam in kindergarten.
Right.
You got to pick one. That's more, to me, ribbon with your buddies.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's intense. Don't get me wrong. But to me, it was that. And I will say I softened a little bit on it years of coaching when I'd have kids go, compete for Auburn.
Right.
Because then it was like, all right, I want them to do well. And so it did change things there. Now, I had kids go swim for Tennessee, too, and God bless them. but
Quit talking to them.
But that's a personal thing. And I know, Tennessee fans, you can yell at me all you want. That's the way y'all feel about Alabama, too.
I was going to say, I think they feel exactly the same.
That's fine.
It's an
doesn't
equal,
bother me.
equal relationship.
I guarantee I'm not going to lose any sleep if a Tennessee fan doesn't like me.
Only if they beat you.
No, well, yeah, I do lose a lot of sleep when that happens. So, but anyway, I'm looking forward to it. What if you had to ballpark it? Where do you think Auburn is this year?
I'm going to say 7-5 or 8-4. I lean 7-5 because it's a tough schedule, but they have the opportunity to knock off an Alabama or win one of those big games that they're maybe not expected to win. And I think if that defense plays up to standards, I think it's definitely an 8-4 type year. And 8-4, if you're an Auburn fan, you should throw a party.
Auburn fans need to make sure they don't take for granted the improvement a 7-5 would be.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
and they got to understand how much talent they've had the last few years and how underperformed Freeze did.
Yeah.
This is going to be a much better run organization, much more structure. They're going to get way more out of the quarterback spot, which is really what's been hurting them the last few years. And I don't think Golish is so stubborn that he's not going to adapt to his personnel. And that's what Freeze just didn't do.
7-5, competitive in the big games, puts Auburn on
Florida.
A great trajectory.
Yeah.
And that's where I see
7-5, you should throw a party for the guy.
My worry for Auburn will be the back end of the schedule when the depth starts to kick in. I'm a little worried about
But I will say this. I think Alabama, people think that's a gimme game. That is never
a gimme game.
Look at Ohio State-Michigan game 2 years ago when they won a national championship. That was not a good Michigan team. Now, they had some good players in certain spots, but they beat Ohio State, and then Ohio State went on and blew the playoffs out of the water.
Absolutely.
So that's a tough game for any time you line up. It doesn't matter who's on each side.
We want to thank Beef O'Brady's again for their sponsorship of the Auburn Update here. Also want to tell you about the Deckhand Social. What a great spot. They're a new sponsor for us, and it is a fantastic location with great, great food, great, great drinks, views unmatched down here looking over the bay. You can hang out in the swimming pool there. You can watch the football games on that gigantic TV screen. The Deckhand Social is a fantastic place. Right down there by the marinas there on Thomas Drive. So get out there. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Coach James Hale Show. You probably bump into a few of us every now and then out there. Turf Pro Pest Control. Patrick Garner and the crew do a fantastic job making sure not just your lawn, but all like the big, a lot of the sporting fields and things like that out here are looking just perfect. Not having those unwanted pests and critters on your lawn. Call the men in the blue and yellow truck. They'll have your lawn looking green, and that is Turf Pro Pest Control. And then Steve's Bike Shop. You want to get a nice bike here as the temperature starts to cool. Get out on a regular bike. Get you one of them electric bikes. Get your old bike fixed. Steve and his crew are the most knowledgeable in the area. They've got experience back to 1979. And you can find them right there on 23rd Street across from Sam's Club there on 23rd. And then Steve is also the head swim coach there at Mosley, and I know they're rocking and rolling into their early season, so no rest for the weary at all. But Steve's Bike Shop there on 23rd Street. When we get back, I got a fun one for Jason. We're going to talk about college football's greatest supervillains and how many Ohio State people are on it. That's coming up next. Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This just in. Get the latest sports news, scores, and updates from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on Facebook for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes action, live streams, and the chance to interact with your favorite hosts.
Stay connected. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Join the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search for ESPN Northwest Florida and crush the follow button.
I follow you on social media.
We're always here to keep you in the game.
Hi everyone, this is Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Gifts in beautiful downtown Panama City. After nearly 40 years in the jewelry business, I'm so excited to welcome you to my very own store. Whether you're celebrating love, family, or life special moments, we're here to help you find something truly beautiful. From diamonds and fine jewelry to unique gifts and custom design, we invite you to come experience the difference. Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Gifts, putting a sparkle on Bay County.
Canes fans, the 2026 Miami Hurricanes football season will be here before you know it, and there's no better place to experience it than inside Hard Rock Stadium. Feel the energy of the crowd, the excitement of game day, and the moments you can't fully experience from your couch. Season tickets are the best way to make sure you don't miss a snap, a score, or a signature Canes moment all season long. Lock in your seats today at MiamiHurricanes.com/football. That's MiamiHurricanes.com/football.
Are you thinking of doing a fundraiser? Well, Krispy Kreme Donuts next to HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan says, let's raise some dough. Earn up to 50% profit with a Krispy Kreme fundraiser in-shop or online. So let's raise some dough. At Krispy Kreme Donuts next to HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan.
Hurricane damage can be devastating. If you've been impacted by a hurricane, the last thing you want is to be taken advantage of. Contractors who show up immediately following a disaster could be scammers looking to make a profit off your insurance claim. They make promises that sound too good to be true to convince you to sign a contract. Don't be victimized a second time. Listen to your gut and don't be afraid to say no. If you suspect fraud, contact NICB at reportinsurancefraud.org. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Do you know who I am?
If he was the last person on Earth,
I'm kind of a big deal.
Mankind would still have a chance.
We may have to repopulate the Earth.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
I'm very important.
Live from the J. Michael Studio at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Unfortunately.
And welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show here. Brian Haddad sitting in for Coach Hale, joined by Jason, joined by Randy. And just a reminder, the Atlanta Braves are on tonight at 6 p.m. We're going to pick up coverage right after the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson with first pitch at 6:15. Braves closing out a set trying to sweep those Miami Marlins. In fact, the Braves are on a 7-game win streak. Second best record in baseball behind the Brew Crew. So hopefully the Braves can eclipse that and get them another win. And you can listen to it right here on ESPN Northwest Florida tonight after the Sports Blitz with Paul
My boy
Wilson.
J-Mac up in Atlanta, he loves the Braves. He texts me all the time, what are the Reds doing? I'm like, nobody cares about baseball. Get out of here. It's college football season, son.
Yeah, fair enough. I like baseball,
No,
too,
I know. I'm
yeah.
kidding. The Braves are doing
Right.
great. They're on a heater.
All right. My Yankees got to figure some things out, but that's all right.
I had to deflect somehow.
There you go. No worries. All right. So we have a list. This is ESPN put this out, gave me some gold this morning. The top 10 supervillains of college football history. So the way we're going to do this, Jason, is I'm going to give you a chance to maybe throw some out that you might think of. And again, I talked to you about it in the break. I'm going to say this for all the listeners out there. And look, if you want to call us and join in on this, you can give us a call at 215-6290. That's 215-6290. But it can be players, it can be coaches, it can be teams, and it can be entities. So it's the supervillains of college football. All right, Jason, who should be on this list? Who's on Kovaleski's list?
Well, uno numero for me would be, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, the cheating scandal, everything, the lying, the just very lack of integrity. That whole staff was blown up. I mean, even after he left them in shambles and took his whole staff to me. And just lying the whole 3 weeks. I don't think anybody outside of Michigan actually thinks that was a legitimate championship. And the fact that they got a slap on the wrist and $30 million to them is nothing, you know what I'm saying? To me, he'd be number one on my list. But I am obviously biased, and it's more personal to me when it comes to the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry.
Let me play the Coach Hale role here.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, survey says, did not make the list.
Wow.
Now, this came out of Ann Arbor. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, did not make the list, but I understand your thing. So.
Yeah.
All right. You get two more. You get 2 more guesses.
The easy one for me would be Lane Kiffin with everything that's gone on recently. I mean, you either love him or hate him, and only Ole Miss fans loved him, and now they hate him, and then only LSU fans love him. But he goes 8-4, then they're going to hate him. Same way with Tennessee. Same way with USC. He doesn't have a whole lot of love outside whatever team he's with. So I'm going to go with Lane Kiffin.
I'm going to play the Richard Dawkins here, short of kissing all the women here.
Yeah.
They've all left. Do we have Lane Kiffin? Ding, 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 ding. Number 2.
Wow.
Lane Kiffin comes in at number 2 on the list. All right, Jason, we're playing the feud.
Yeah. Now it's getting a little tougher for me. Trying to think who people really hate. You said 2 teams?
There are 2 teams on the list. We have taken one of the 2 coaches out. There's 2 coaches, 2 teams, 1 entity, and 5 players.
I'm going to go with the Miami Hurricanes. 80s, 90s, they were the most hated team in college football. Their swag, the way they showed up, and fatigues and, all that. I don't have a problem with them. I think they're good for college football when they're good. So, but as far as if I'm looking at a team, I would have to go with the Miami Hurricanes.
Miami Hurricanes. Survey says, ding, 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 number 5 on the list. Nice, Miami Hurricanes. So you've still only got 1 strike, and we have 8 more to go.
8 more. I'm trying to think of this.
Yeah, Miami made sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, and people hate a winner, and they won a lot in that era, and they weren't quiet about it. And they're still not quiet about it. If it's recent, I could go with like a Brandon Sorsby because of everything that happened, but I don't know how recent this was made. So
this morning.
Okay, well, let's go with Brandon Sorsby. I don't think anybody cared for that situation. I think a lot of people thought he was lying, and I think that situation blew up in their face, and I think a lot of people hated Texas Tech for it and the way they went about it. Let's go with Sorsby.
Show me Sorsby. Did not make the list. Okay. I think he's already out of people's minds.
I think he is too. So. I mean, I'll be honest.
All right, down to our last strike here, Jason. 8 to go.
I know there's some polarizing figures. Now, who made the list? Because this might give me an idea. Was it ESPN?
Yes.
Okay. I talked about when we already denied that one, the Cam Newton thing. I don't think anybody.
No.
So
I'll give you that as a freebie. Cam Newton did not make the list.
What team outside of my? Let's go with Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, everybody hates a winner, and they definitely win a lot.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of people who call into this show who hate Alabama. There's a few in this building, I think, right now.
When you win Alabama. A lot, they talk a lot.
Randy's in there nodding his head, I'm sure.
So let's go with Alabama Crimson Tide.
All right, to stave off your final strike, show me Alabama.
Wow.
Coach Hale made this list. No.
Yeah.
Alabama did not make the list, and I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised.
Yeah. I was surprised Ohio State wasn't, because we talked a little bit about that. I mean, these are teams that other teams love to hate.
Randy, you want to come in for a Family Feud steal? Try and get one. We got 8 spots left.
No problem.
Who you got? So most hated supervillains in football. We got 5 players left. We got 1 team left. We got 1 coach left and 1 entity left.
I think I know the team now. But
we got Lane Kiffin already, and we got the Miami Hurricanes already.
One team that just seems like they get the benefit of
If Randy misses, I'll let you steal back.
Yeah.
Team Notre Dame.
That's where I was going to go.
Show me Notre Dame. Ding, 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 ding. Number 6 on the list.
Yeah.
That's right. Notre Dame. As I said, even Catholics in Alabama don't like Notre Dame. But, yeah, Notre Dame on the list. Similar thing. Been around forever.
Well, Catholics in Alabama don't like Auburn.
No.
Catholics in Alabama don't.
And I'll tell you why. Because I grew up in the state and grew up an Alabama fan, and people always ask me, you know, what's the deal with the Notre Dame hatred? Because Alabama didn't play Notre Dame all that often. But here's why. When you were an Alabama fan, what you loved to stick your chest out about was, at that time, now granted we've won several since, but it was 12 national championships. It doesn't matter that a couple of them were from Wonder Bread or the Poughkeepsie Times, or it didn't matter. We had 12 national championships. And that was the trump card. So as the argument would go back and forth, we've had this, we go 12 national championships, and we drop the mic and walk off.
Yeah.
The reason we hated Notre Dame was because Notre Dame could go, yeah, us too.
Right.
And so it was like, that's no fun. Yes.
I think they get more recent hate because everybody wants them to join a conference. They have the easiest path to the college football playoffs. They keep all their playoff money, so that's a huge advantage for them. And I think they just have different rules than everybody else in college football, and their schedule's so easy. I mean, they will 100% be in the playoffs this year. You could play your starters maybe half a game in 9 out of their games and still make the playoffs. And I think people are frustrated with that. Join a conference.
Yeah. And then what about their TV deal with NBC?
That's another reason.
You don't split any of that revenue.
Yeah, and even the playoffs. You know, these teams split that playoff money with the entire conference. They keep 100% of it. That's a huge advantage.
There were a lot of people who took a probably greater than they should have joy in Notre Dame missing the playoff last year.
And I get
they really did. You want to try one more here before the break, or steal back? Again, teams are gone. We have an entity, a coach, and 5 players left.
I'll take coach.
All right.
I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, actually. Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. Survey says probably hadn't been in college long enough.
How about Bobby Petrino?
No, but he might make mine. But no Bobby Petrino.
Wow. But it's current coaches, right? Current
Not necessarily.
College? No. Oh, okay.
Let me throw out, and people are going to think this, but there's a lot of people that throw hate at this guy, and I don't understand it. Tim Tebow.
Survey says, ding, 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 ding.
It is an ESPN.
Wow. Tim Tebow at number 8.
I don't get it.
So here's the, and this is where super villain versus most hated, I do think is slightly different.
Right.
I thought Tim Tebow was the epitome of a stand-up citizen and exactly who I would want if I had a son to be, all that, and could not stand him when he was at Florida. So I get that. I think it was, you look at the guy and he's had like success everywhere.
Right.
And then when he went and played baseball, you're like, oh, come on.
Right.
You know, we need you to fall on your face here at some point. So anyway, Tim Tebow did make the list there at number 8. We're going to come back and finish this list up. I want to talk about some more of our great sponsors here on the Coach James Hale Show. We're almost halfway there. Outlaws Barbecue. Oh, wonderful food. We know about the barbecue. We know about the cobbler. We know about the seasoned fries. They also have live entertainment there on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So you will have a wonderful time there on Thomas Drive between the two newbies. Get out to Outlaws Barbecue. Tell them you heard about it right here. Dr. John Ward. Something on your skin doesn't look right, feel right, changing color, make sure that you call Dr. Ward. Don't become a skin cancer statistic. If you're listening to us right now, he has an office near you with 9 convenient area locations. And then Pepper's Mexican Grill on 77 in town over by the old mall. And then on Back Beach Road over by Arnold High School, the new one on the beach, great drink specials. Get that soft margarita. You will absolutely love it. You just might not remember it. When we come back, we're going to finish up the supervillain list. And who's sitting at number 1? Wasn't Lane Kiffin. You'll find out next on the Coach James Hale Show.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus, more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, isolated thunderstorms and mostly sunshine, and a high of 89 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 77. Tomorrow, a mixture of some sun and scattered thunderstorms and a temperature near 88. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 89 and scattered thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Ready to play? Welcome to DuPlay, your premier indoor destination for family fitness and total fun. DuPlay is designed for fun, movement, and skill building for all ages. Kids can explore our active playgrounds, while athletes and teams can utilize our turf fields, indoor soccer, batting cages, full basketball, and volleyball courts. With open play, training space, and structured activities, it's all inclusive at the new DuPlay in Panama City. Take a look now at DuPlayOnline.com. That's DuPlayOnline.com.
Thanks for the take, caller, but the truth is these Florida Gators are ready to compete in the SEC right now. Lane Kiffin is going to self-destruct at LSU. They're not going to the playoffs. You can take back to the bank. You heard it right here.
Have you ever listened to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and thought, I could do that? Well, maybe you can. We're in search of fresh local voices to join our on-air lineup. Are you the person everybody argues sports with at work? The one your friends say should have a radio show? Then maybe it's time to stop yelling at the dashboard and start talking into a microphone. If you're a sports fanatic, we want to hear from you. Previous radio experience is helpful, but personality, authenticity, and the ability to connect with listeners matter even more. This is your chance to be heard across the Panhandle. If you think you got what it takes to host a show on the Sports Talk Monster, send 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida a short audio sample of your hot take, big reaction, or lean-in conversation, and tell us about yourself. Don't snooze on this one. Email espnpanamacity@gmail.com. That's espnpanamacity@gmail.com.
He's a beacon of light to many and an inspiration to all.
These men need inspiration.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels studio.
They're motivated by Vicodin and Road Skank.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back in to the Coach James Hale Show on a beautiful Thursday morning here in Bay County. Jason and Randy with me, and we're going to get right back to the supervillain list. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to give a couple away kind of at the tail end of the list. We'll spend some time trying to get in there because this is getting tough.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give away at number 10 on this list. I don't think supervillain, but there were certainly a lot of people who did not like this player toward the end of his career. And that's Caleb Williams. Heisman Trophy winner. A lot of people really didn't like his attitude down the stretch that last year, the whole painting the nails things and all. He got a lot of hate, and I think it was amplified. I don't know if I'd put him in the villain category, but
I don't think he won enough to really be a villain. When I see a villain, I either think you've done something crazy to hurt somebody, or like you've won so much and you had a bad attitude.
I think people consider him kind of a diva.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. But
so at number 10, Caleb Williams from Oklahoma and USC. At number 9, this one, more probably for his playing days. This is actually the one who was a player and a coach, but I considered him a player on here. Prime time.
I was going to say
Deion Sanders. Yeah. Certainly had a lot of detractors and a lot of people who loved his brashness, but I think actually villain could fit.
Yeah.
Deion, and I think he would enjoy that.
Whether you agree with it or not, he's a polarizing figure, even as a coach. I mean, you either love him or hate him, and I don't really get the hate with anybody. I mean, these coaches work their tails off. Right. It's a hard job, and he's been through a lot. But, you know, when he was a player, he liked to talk and get in your face.
I was going to say, he makes this list as a player,
right,
too.
Yeah.
Like
so it's twofold for me.
That's right.
That one makes sense. Caleb Williams, to me, doesn't move the needle. I mean, unless you've won a lot and been at the top of the game, which I guess he won a Heisman. I guess that's winning a lot. But it just doesn't register with me.
Like I said, to me, Williams, it was more diva.
Right.
I think Sanders kind of embraced the villain role.
Yeah, for sure.
And enjoy, like, he loved showing people up, high-stepping into the end zone and thing. Like, I get that. And look, if he was on your team, you loved him.
And he won a Super Bowl at the end.
A couple, didn't he?
Yeah,
he won one with the Niners,
too. The Niners, and that was the difference that year. So
Didn't win anything with the Falcons.
No. Or the Redskins.
It's a lot to
or
overcome.
The Ravens. He actually played for more NFL teams than a lot of people realize.
Right.
But, yeah, he was – what a talent.
Well, here's one for you. How about Randy Moss?
You know, he's not on the list.
Which is surprising.
I don't know if being at Marshall, I could see him being more of an NFL one maybe than a college one.
But I think he got to be loved at the end, especially when it to New England and caught so many touchdown passes. And when you hear him, I think a lot of people forgot about everything he went through in college and high school, basically, because you don't really hear about it anymore. And I think he's changed his persona so much over the years that people actually like Randy Moss.
Yeah.
The ones
Pretty honest guy.
Yeah. And he was a great player to watch.
I still love the story that, he went to high school with Jason Williams. Right. And Williams was the football player of the year in the state, and Moss was the basketball player of the year in the state. And they were just both great athletes.
They were just great athletes, yeah.
But anyway, Williams loves talking about he was a quarterback, but he said he didn't like getting hit. So he kind of gravitated over to basketball.
So Mike texted in and said Brian Bosworth.
Brian Bosworth, survey says... Ding, 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 ding. Number 4, the Boz. Now, he is the epitome of a supervillain.
Right.
I mean, he was his own cartoon character.
Oh, yeah.
In college. So, I was wondering if anybody would get the Boz. But, Brian Bosworth definitely on the list. So, we have cracked another one out of the top 5. So, very good. I did get a text in, someone asking Brian Kelly. In Baton Rouge, I think he makes the list. Yeah. And maybe in Cincinnati for how he left them. And Notre Dame. Maybe he should have made this list, but Brian Kelly is not on the list. So, what do we have left? We have number 7, and then we have number 3 and number 1 left. So, we have a player, a coach, and an entity. So, I am going to leave this up and give you guys another shot here. See if we can come up with this. The coach, I'm actually surprised we're not getting.
Urban Meyer.
It is not Urban Meyer.
I did guess that one, too, even...
The player will make sense when you hear it. Very similar to Boz in that he kind of became a caricature of himself and became almost a cartoon character that everyone loved to hate.
Diego Pavia.
Unbelievably similar, but not Pavia. Who was Pavia's mentor?
Oh, Johnny Football.
Johnny Manziel. Come on down. You were at number 3 on the supervillain list.
That checks out.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel for sure. All right, so we have 2 left. We have the entity at number 7, which, Jason, you're going to love. If you really thought about who you hate most in college football, this would be your first pick.
Oh,
and then
Ohio State's in there?
No.
I said Jim Harbaugh.
No, well, this one might be up there with them for you based on what I've heard you say over the years. And then number 1 is our coach. I'll give that away.
Let me
use
the
it.
entity then?
All right, it is a corporation.
So the
Cowboys.
No, it's college football.
Oh, college, my bad.
Corporation.
NCAA.
No,
that would
be a good guess.
That would be the ultimate guess. Well, we might get in trouble for it.
That would be a good guess. A lot of people say they're more powerful than the NCAA themselves.
Well, I mean, most politicians.
Let me give you a hint.
Oh, ESPN.
ESPN makes their own list. Jason's favorite, ESPN. And look, they do fill the role. I mean, outside of the SEC, I would say that everybody complains that ESPN is the greatest evil in college football.
And the most recognized brand in the world.
That is 100% true. I think I threw up my neck doing that little thing there. But
they are the SEC network. I mean, that's what they're in business for. That's how they make their money. So it makes sense. I mean, outside of the SEC, and I think you guys get an inflated view of your team sometimes and their schedules and everything that they make their lists on. But I think it's funny that they put themselves on there. At least they have some self-reflection.
Got a couple minutes. I want to give you some time to do Max Fit. So at number 1, I'm going to give you a hint. He has the greatest line, I'm convinced, and out of a million lines that he has. But my favorite line, other than John McKay's when they asked, what'd you think about your team's execution? He said, I'm in favor of it. This one is great. So there was a fire at Auburn University in the library. And they asked this coach what he thought about it. And he said, the hell of it is, most of them books hadn't even been colored in yet. Our coach at number 1, he's going to be one of our favorites.
Yeah.
But he fits the supervillain role. Who is it, Jason?
Mike Leach.
No.
I don't remember who said that. Oh, Steve Spurrier?
Steve Spurrier. I think even Florida fans would enjoy that moniker. I'll put it this way. When Sports Illustrated did their 50th anniversary, they went through each state and greatest athlete born in the state, all these things. And they had a thing called, now this is in the 90s.
Right.
They had a thing called Enemy of the State, the most hated person. Spurrier won 7 states.
I didn't know that. I used to go over to camp because Coach Reeves was the quarterback coach over there. I used to go throw for him. I always had a really good relationship with him.
He's great.
He's a different guy than Bobby Bowden, but they have similar traits when it comes down to it. He's a little bit more quirky, that kind of mad scientist, always in his head, always the one-liners.
He's perfect, though, as a villain. I think he loves it.
See, I don't see him as a villain. That's just me, though.
I
can see why
He's a more polished version.
To me, Urban Meyer's more of a villain than Steve Spurrier. I mean.
Well, Jay, I wish we had more time. Get out to Max Fit Sports Nutrition in town and on the beach to see Jason. Loved the talk earlier with Tina. Unfortunately, we're up against it.
Yep.
I think Coach Hale will be back tomorrow. If not, we'll have Kyle. Jason, you'll be back, and Jim will be here. Check out Paul at 4 and the Braves at 6. We're out.
Wake up with ESPN Northwest Florida. The Coach James Hale Show drags you out of bed weekdays 7 to 9.
They're going to allow beer sold at the new sports complex, yet we can't have a cold beer on the beach.
Then for the ride home,